I seek leave to make a brief explanation before asking a question of the Parliamentary Secretary to the Premier on autism.
Is leave granted? Leave is granted.
I have permission to use the family's name in the following explanation. Mrs. Kirsten Richards and her daughter, who has autism and severe clinical anxiety, negotiated a one plan for her daughter to complete her SACE this year in Year 12. The plan with SACE-approved allowances was agreed by all parties in writing. Mrs. Richards tells me that she understood she would have oral and email access to a SACE coordinator. Her daughter often doesn't understand instructions or forgets tasks, so Mrs. Richards needs to have access to her daughter's coordinator to ensure that she is able to support her daughter in her studies. She tells me that since school has returned, she has been told that she is only allowed to speak with the principal and no one else about her daughter's plan. She tells me that she is only able to email the coordinator, but feels that sometimes an email is not sufficient and that she needs to speak to the coordinator directly. Mrs. Richards is very frustrated as she feels that she has been locked out of any direct involvement with the SACE program for her daughter. She is concerned that by essentially removing her from her daughter's educational support network, it will hinder her daughter's efforts in her SACE studies. My questions to the Parliamentary Secretary to the Premier are: 1. Will you intervene to ensure that her daughter will have every opportunity to successfully complete her SACE? 2. How many children and families has signed up to receive support from an autism-led lead in each state school? 3. How many children are waiting for support? And 4. Given the above explanation, do you think the government is failing to deliver on their election promise to provide straightforward and additional support to families and children with autism?
Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, and I thank the honourable member for her question. Obviously, we take all of these stories very seriously, so I would be more than happy to refer that story to the Minister for Education, who looks after one plan, so happy to take those details on. But just in regards to the autism inclusion teacher role, I just want to make it really clear about what that role is. You made mention of students getting enough support from it, and you refer to them as lead teachers, but they are called autism inclusion teachers. I do want to make it really clear the reason why we have developed this role, which started just last week, is that it's about giving knowledge to our teachers. At the moment, we have teachers that are fantastic. They're in our schools and they're doing a really good job, but what we need to be doing is giving an opportunity for them to go off and get the training and the knowledge that they need. So that's why we've created these autism inclusion teachers, so that they can start to get training in what is the best way to support students. But it's really about not doing one-on-one work with students. It is about the teacher becoming a pillar of knowledge in our schools. So that pillar of knowledge can be there to support other fellow teachers as well. So that's the primary focus of this role. It's about teachers supporting teachers and sharing that knowledge between each other.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Mrs. Henderson.
How many children and families are currently partaking in the program? In the, I'm going to call them again, the autism inclusion teaching program.
Parliamentary Secretary.
I just want to make it really clear, students are not participating in the autism inclusion teacher role. Well, that's a really interesting question. I just want to go back again about what this role is about, why we had to create this role. The autism inclusion teacher's role is there to be able to have time so that they can leave the classroom. So a teacher will be, more often than not, already within that school community, will now be able to leave the classroom and go off to get that training. So when they do return, they can provide that knowledge to fellow teachers. This is not about sitting with every individual student in the school. There is at least one autistic person, I'm advised, in every classroom. So what we need to be doing is giving the knowledge to our teachers so that they can be providing the best support to all students in the school as much as they can. Because if we're not giving knowledge to teachers, they don't know where to start in providing that support. So we're starting with one teacher. This is a start. There is a long, long way to go. But if we don't start now, we will be having the same conversation in 10 years' time about how do we provide support to kids. But we have to start first by providing support to our teachers.